In 1981, Porky's turned a group of young actors into overnight cult icons. But behind the scenes, their real lives unfolded in ways no script could predict. Some left Hollywood forever, some underwent dramatic transformations, and others passed away without many fans even knowing. Join us as we explore their real lives. You won't believe what happened to them. Tony Ganios as Meat. We turn to Tony Ganios, the actor who played Anthony Meat Tuparello, the towering strongman whose intimidating presence made him the muscle of the group. He was 22 years old when he became the physical powerhouse of the story, the larger-than-life figure whose sheer presence gave the gang its fearless edge. In a film filled with outrageous characters, Meat stood out as the unstoppable force that made the group feel invincible. Sadly, Tony Ganios' life ended unexpectedly. He died on February 18, 2024, at the age of 64 after suffering heart failure, following hospitalization for a severe spinal cord infection that required emergency treatment. He passed away in Manhattan, New York, leaving behind his wife Shirley Ganios, with whom he had shared more than 3 decades of marriage, as well as his sister Trinity. At the time of his death, his estimated net worth was about $1 million. Before that tragic ending, Ganios had carved out a memorable place in Hollywood's cult film history. He first gained attention as the tough street fighter Perry in the cult classic The Wanderers, a role that established his intimidating screen persona. That reputation continued through the Porky's trilogy, and later into television appearances such as Wise Guy, where he played the muscular mob lawyer Mike Mooch Cacciatore. Action movie fans also remember his brief but unforgettable appearance in Die Hard 2. Yet the Hollywood spotlight never truly defined Ganios' life. After a handful of film appearances in the early 1990s, he quietly stepped away from acting and chose a far more private existence. Known among friends as a passionate student of military history and martial arts, he lived largely outside the public eye with his wife. In the end, Tony Ganios remained remembered not only as the powerful presence behind Meat in Porky's, but as a cult film icon whose brief time in Hollywood left a lasting impression on fans. Wyatt Knight as Tommy Turner. Now let's begin with Wyatt Knight, who played Tommy Turner, the loud and reckless friend whose mischief constantly fueled the chaos among the boys. He was 26 years old when he became one of the wild comedic sparks of the story and part of the rebellious energy that helped drive the film's wild, unforgettable humor. Sadly, Wyatt Knight's story ended in tragedy. He died on October 25, 2011, at the age of 56, after years of suffering linked to advanced non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and the devastating treatments that followed. His body was discovered in a remote area of Maui, Hawaii, and an autopsy later confirmed that he had died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He left behind his wife, Sylvina Knight, and 2 children from a previous marriage, and at the time of his death, his estimated net worth was about $1 million. Before that heartbreaking ending, Knight had spent decades building a steady acting career. Following the success of the Porky's films, he appeared in numerous television shows including Family Ties, The Waltons, Chicago Hope, and Star Trek: The Next Generation. Behind the scenes, his personal life moved through several chapters of marriage. First to Jean C. Klein, then Harriet Birnholz, with whom he had 2 children, before finally finding stability with Sylvina Knight in 1998. For a while, it seemed his life had finally settled into something peaceful. Then everything changed. In 2003, Knight was diagnosed with stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, forcing him into brutal treatments, including radiation and a bone marrow transplant. According to his wife, the physical pain and emotional toll never fully left him. The man who once made audiences laugh through the wild chaos of teenage comedy was now fighting a private battle few people could see. His story remains a painful reminder that behind the laughter and outrageous humor of Porky's. Dan Monahan as Edward Pee Wee Morris. We have Dan Monahan, who played Edward Pee Wee Morris, the hilariously overconfident teenager whose outrageous obsession with girls became one of the film's most memorable running jokes. He was 26 years old when he became the reckless comic heartbeat of the story. From the moment he appeared on screen, Pee Wee was the fearless comedic force that pushed the film's humor to its wildest extremes. As of 2026, Dan Monahan is 71 years old and still alive, living a much quieter life far from the chaos of Hollywood fame. With an estimated net worth of around $2 million, he now spends much of his time focusing on photography and golf, while occasionally reconnecting with fans who still remember him as the unforgettable Pee Wee. Long before the film made him famous, Monahan had already built a strong background in theater. After studying drama at Ohio University, he performed in regional productions and even appeared in a stage production of Richard III alongside Al Pacino. The success of the Porky's films suddenly pushed him into Hollywood, where he later appeared in movies like Only When I Laugh and the Stephen King-inspired thriller The Night Flyer. Yet fame brought its own pressure, and the transition from stage actor to cult comedy star was not always easy. Fortunately, his personal life gave him the stability that many actors never find. In September 1982, he married schoolteacher Sharon Killius, and together they raised a daughter while navigating the ups and downs of an acting career. Over time, Monahan slowly stepped away from major film roles, choosing instead to focus on family and personal passions. Today, his journey stands as a rare example of an actor who experienced sudden fame, yet chose a quieter path, building a lasting life beyond the spotlight while remaining forever remembered as the unforgettable Pee Wee Morris. Mark Herrier as Billy. Then we come to Mark Herrier, the actor who played Billy, the thoughtful observer whose calm personality balanced the chaos around him. He was 27 years old when he became the steady center of the story, the character who quietly held the group together when everything else spiraled out of control. Among the louder personalities in the film, Billy stood out as the grounded voice that kept the group connected. As of 2026, Mark Herrier is 72 years old and still living in California, continuing to remain connected to the entertainment world after decades in the industry. With an estimated net worth of about $1.5 million, he has worked not only as an actor, but also as a producer and director, while occasionally returning to television roles later in life. Long before Porky's made him widely recognized, Herrier had already spent years training seriously for the stage. Inspired by a childhood viewing of The Music Man, he pursued theater instead of a scholarship to study law and trained with prestigious acting programs before performing in regional productions and even Broadway shows like Brigadoon and Macbeth. When Porky's became a worldwide hit, he suddenly found himself part of one of the biggest comedies of the era. Over the years, he continued acting in projects such as Real Men and various television series, including MASH, Murder, She Wrote, and later Bosch. Away from the spotlight, Herrier built a stable personal life. He married Rebecca Marie Gonzalez, and together they raised 2 sons while living quietly in California. Like many actors, balancing family and career sometimes brought pressure, especially when he returned to television later in life, but he managed to maintain that balance. Today, Mark Herrier's journey stands as a reminder that behind the wild comedy of Porky's, some actors quietly built long, enduring lives in the industry while staying true to their passion for storytelling. Cyril O'Reilly as Tim Cavanaugh. We have Cyril O'Reilly, who played Tim Cavanaugh, the troubled and sensitive teenager whose personal struggles gave the story one of its most emotional threads. He was 23 years old when he became the conflicted soul of the film. Among the chaos and outrageous humor, Tim stood out as the character who carried a deeper emotional weight. As of 2026, Cyril O'Reilly is 68 years old and still alive, continuing to stay active in the entertainment world after decades in film and television. His estimated net worth is around $1 million, earned through his work not only as an actor but also as a writer and film producer. Before Porky's brought him wider recognition, O'Reilly had already built a strong foundation in theater. After studying at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts and training with legendary acting teacher Stella Adler, he appeared in stage productions alongside talents like Kaki Hunter and Amy Madigan. The success of the Porky's films opened the door to many television appearances, including roles in ER, The X-Files, Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, MASH, and Beverly Hills 90210. Away from the cameras, O'Reilly's life had already been shaped by unusual experiences long before Hollywood. As a child, he moved with his family to Somalia when his father worked with the Peace Corps, a dramatic cultural shift that forced him to adapt quickly and shaped his worldview. Over the years, he quietly expanded his career into producing, helping bring independent films such as Gemini Rising to life. Today, Cyril O'Reilly's journey stands as the story of an actor who quietly navigated decades in Hollywood while continuing to evolve as both a performer and storyteller. Roger Wilson as Mickey. Now we come to Roger Wilson, who played Mickey, the charismatic friend whose confidence and sharp humor made him one of the boldest personalities in the group. He was 25 years old when he became one of the daring voices of the story, the character whose fearless attitude helped push the gang into their wildest adventures. In a film full of outrageous personalities, Mickey stood out as the cool and confident instigator. As of 2026, Roger Wilson is 70 years old and still alive, living largely outside the Hollywood spotlight after decades connected to entertainment and business ventures. His estimated net worth is about $1 million, built through acting, screenwriting, and later entrepreneurial projects. Wilson's early life was marked by both privilege and tragedy. Raised in New Orleans, he lost his father at a young age but also inherited a significant fortune from the family business. After studying at New York University, he entered the entertainment world and became widely recognized for his role in the Porky's films. He later appeared in projects like Thunder Alley and the television series 7 Brides for 7 Brothers, while also exploring music as the lead singer of a New York band. Yet Wilson's personal life often drew as much attention as his acting career. He married model Shawn Casey in 1978, though the marriage ended in divorce 5 years later. Over the years, he became romantically linked to several well-known figures, including Christy Turlington, Elizabeth Berkley, and Diane Lane, and even filed a high-profile lawsuit in 2000 involving Leonardo DiCaprio after a violent altercation. Eventually, stepping away from acting, Wilson moved into business and wellness ventures, later opening a nightclub in Aspen. Today, his story reflects a life that moved far beyond the rebellious comedy of Porky's, evolving into a complex journey through fame, controversy, and reinvention. Kaki Hunter as Wendy Williams. We have Kaki Hunter, who played Wendy Williams, the confident young woman whose presence brought a rare female voice into the wild world of the boys' adventures. She was 26 years old when she became the spirited center of the story's female perspective. In a film dominated by outrageous male antics, Wendy quietly stood out as the character who grounded the story with wit and warmth. As of 2026, Kaki Hunter is 71 years old and still alive, living a quiet life far away from Hollywood. Her estimated net worth is around $950,000, and she now resides in Moab, Utah, where she has built a very different career as an architect, author, and whitewater rafting instructor, far removed from the film industry that once made her famous. Before stepping away from acting, Hunter had already experienced both success and critical recognition. Early in her career, she won major international praise for her role in the German film Maiden's War, earning awards in both Germany and Spain. She later starred in Roadie alongside Meatloaf and appeared in films such as Just the Way You Are and Whose Life Is It Anyway? Her role as Wendy Williams in the Porky's trilogy eventually became the most widely recognized part of her career, placing her in one of the biggest teen comedies of the era. Yet her life soon took a completely different direction. After a brief marriage to Reed Jenkins, which ended in divorce in 1981, Hunter gradually stepped away from Hollywood and left acting behind in the early 1990s. Instead of chasing fame, she chose a quieter path, dedicating herself to environmental building and outdoor education. She later wrote the influential guide Earthbag Building, helping others learn sustainable construction methods. Today, Kaki Hunter's journey stands as a rare story of a Hollywood actress who walked away from fame and successfully built an entirely new life on her own terms. Kim Cattrall as Honeywell. Let's continue to Kim Cattrall, who played Honeywell, the glamorous and seductive teacher whose presence instantly raised the stakes in the boy's mischievous world. She was 25 years old when she became one of the film's most striking figures. Even in a film filled with outrageous comedy, Honeywell stood out as one of the most memorable personalities on screen. As of 2026, Kim Cattrall is 70 years old and still thriving in the entertainment world, with an estimated net worth of about $40 million. After decades of success in film, television, and theater, she continues to work in the industry while also supporting arts education and cultural projects. Long after her early appearance in PORKY'S, Cattrall rose to global fame with her legendary role as Samantha Jones in the hit series Sex and the City, a performance that earned her a Golden Globe Award in 2002 and multiple Emmy nominations. Her career expanded across film, television, and stage productions, proving her versatility as both a comedic and dramatic actress. Over the years, she also appeared in projects such as Police Academy, Mannequin, and numerous television dramas. Behind the spotlight, Cattrall's personal life has been just as complex as her career. She was married 3 times, to Larry Davis, Andre J. Lyson, and Mark Levinson, before later finding a long-term relationship with Russell Thomas, whom she married in 2025. She also faced personal heartbreak when her brother tragically died in 2018. Despite those challenges, she continued building a remarkable career spanning decades. Today, Kim Cattrall remains one of the most successful stars to emerge from the PORKY'S cast, transforming an early role into a lasting legacy in television history. Scott Colomby as Brian Schwartz. We have Scott Colomby, who played Brian Schwartz, the quick-witted friend whose sarcastic humor helped spark many of the group's bold schemes. He was 29 years old when he became one of the clever voices of the story, a character whose sharp personality added another layer to the gang's rebellious adventures. Brian stood out as the friend whose humor and confidence kept the group moving forward. As of 2026, Scott Colomby is 74 years old and still alive, continuing to remain connected to the world of acting and theater after decades in the industry. His estimated net worth is around $1 million, built through his long career in film, television, and stage performance. Long before PORKY'S made him widely recognized, Colomby had already been acting since childhood. Growing up in a family connected to the entertainment industry, his father a jazz manager and his mother a stage actress, he began performing at a young age and appeared in numerous television shows, including Charlie's Angels, Ironside, and The Streets of San Francisco. He gained wider attention playing Tony D'Annunzio in the comedy hit Caddyshack, a role that helped establish his presence in Hollywood before he later joined the cast of the wildly successful PORKY'S films. Over the years, Colomby's career gradually shifted toward theater and teaching. While his on-screen appearances became less frequent after the 1990s, he remained active in the performing arts, co-founding the experimental stage company Big Elvin and the Professor's Blues Theater, and working as an acting coach in Los Angeles. Today, Scott Colomby's journey reflects the path of a lifelong performer who quietly continued pursuing his craft long after the peak of his Hollywood fame. Nancy Parsons as Ballbricker. We have Nancy Parsons, who played Beulah Ballbricker, the strict and intimidating gym teacher determined to keep the boys under control. She was 39 years old when she became the fierce disciplinarian of the story. In a comedy filled with rebellious teenagers, Balbricker stood as the formidable force constantly trying to stop their chaos. Sadly, Nancy Parsons' life ended too soon. She died on January 5, 2001, at the age of 58 after suffering from congestive heart failure in La Crosse, Wisconsin. At the time of her passing, she left behind 2 daughters and a legacy built through decades of work in theater, film, and television. Her estimated net worth was around $500,000. Before her breakthrough in Porky's, Parsons had already lived a full life beyond the spotlight. She initially stepped away from acting for nearly a decade to raise her children before returning to pursue her passion on stage. After studying theater at UCLA, she won the Hugh O'Brian Acting Award. She soon appeared in films such as Motel Hell and later gained attention for roles in projects like Steel Magnolias and television series including The Pretender. Even with those achievements, it was her unforgettable portrayal of Coach Balbricker in the Porky's trilogy that secured her place in cult film history. Her commanding performance turned the strict gym teacher into one of the most memorable comedic villains of the era. Though her life ended far too early, Nancy Parsons remains remembered as the powerful character actress whose fierce presence left a lasting mark on audiences and the legacy of Porky's. Boyd Gaines as Coach Brackett. We have Boyd Gaines, who played Coach Brackett, the disciplined teacher trying to maintain order in a school constantly thrown into chaos by rebellious students. He was 28 years old when he became one of the authority figures in the story. Coach Brackett represented the serious voice constantly attempting to keep the students under control. As of 2026, Boyd Gaines is 73 years old and still alive, continuing to be respected as one of the most accomplished stage actors of his generation. His estimated net worth is around $3 million, earned through decades of work in theater, television, film, and voice acting. While many audiences remember him from Porky's, Gaines built a remarkable reputation far beyond the film. Trained at the prestigious Juilliard School, he developed a powerful stage career and later became one of Broadway's most celebrated performers. Over the years, he won 4 Tony Awards for his performances in productions such as Gypsy, She Loves Me, The Heidi Chronicles, and Contact, along with multiple Drama Desk Awards, establishing himself as a true force in American theater. Away from the stage, Gaines maintained a relatively stable and private personal life. He married actress Kathleen McNenny, and together they raised a daughter while he continued balancing stage, television, and voice work. Though his film appearances were occasional, his influence in theater remained profound. Today, Boyd Gaines is widely remembered not only for his appearance in Porky's, but for a distinguished career that turned him into one of Broadway's most respected actors. Susan Clark as Cherry Forever. We have Susan Clark, who played Cherry Forever, the glamorous and mysterious woman whose presence added a daring edge to the film's provocative storyline. She was 38 years old when she became one of the film's most unforgettable adult characters, bringing experience and confidence to a story dominated by teenage chaos. Among the outrageous humor and youthful antics, Cherry Forever stood out as a bold and striking figure. As of 2026, Susan Clark is 83 years old and still alive, living a quieter life after a long and successful acting career. Her estimated net worth is about $6 million, built through decades of work in film and television. Long before her appearance in Porky's, Clark had already become a respected actress in Hollywood. She appeared in films such as Coogan's Bluff, Tell Them Willie Boy Is Here, Night Moves, and the disaster classic Airport 1975. Her talent earned major recognition when she won an Emmy Award for portraying legendary athlete Babe Didrikson Zacharias in the television film Babe, followed by another Emmy nomination for playing Amelia Earhart. She later gained even wider popularity starring in the television sitcom Webster, where she appeared alongside her real-life husband. Behind the scenes, Clark's personal life was closely connected to actor and former football star Alex Karras, whom she married in 1980. The couple shared both their professional and personal lives, even appearing together in Webster, and remained married for 32 years until Karis passed away in 2012. Together, they raised their daughter Katie while continuing their careers in entertainment. Today, Susan Clark remains remembered as a talented actress whose career spanned decades, leaving a lasting legacy in both film and television. Art Hindle as Ted Jarvis. We have Art Hindle, who played Ted Jarvis, the determined police officer constantly trying to rein in the chaos created by the reckless students. He was 33 years old when he became the law and order presence of the story. Jarvis stood as the frustrated figure attempting to restore control. As of 2026, Art Hindle is 78 years old and still alive, continuing to remain active in the Canadian entertainment industry after decades on screen. His estimated net worth is around $1 million, earned through his long career as an actor and television director. Before appearing in Porky's, Hindle had already built an impressive film career in the 1970s. He gained recognition in influential horror films such as Black Christmas, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and The Brood, establishing himself as a familiar face in genre cinema. His career later expanded into television, where he earned a Gemini Award for his performance as news director Mike Fennell in the acclaimed drama ENG, while also appearing in series like Dallas, North of 60, and Paradise Falls. Away from the cameras, Hindle's life has been shaped by resilience and family. After a complicated childhood that included living with divorced parents and time in foster homes, he eventually built a large and close-knit family of his own. He married Brooke Hindle in 2004 and is the father of 8 children and grandfather to several grandchildren. Today, Art Hindle remains a respected veteran of Canadian television whose long career reflects decades of persistence, reinvention, and dedication to his craft. And that was the cast of Porky's, 1981. Then and now in 2026. From young stars causing chaos on screen to lives filled with triumph, tragedy, and surprising turns behind the scenes, their journeys turned out to be just as unforgettable as the film itself. Which Porky's cast member surprised you the most after all these years? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more then and now stories about your favorite classic movies.